We are 2 3/4 of the way through 2023. Where has the time gone? And you might be hitting this point. It's a summer moving into autumn, and you're thinking about your skill set. Where do you need to upgrade your skills? Where are you lacking? Now, you may be a baby boomer who's within touching distance, for example, of retirement age, and it could be by, maybe a few years. But you recognize that even where you are today, that you would not be able to retire. That's one thing. And we could be living another 2 to 3 decades from here. So, hopefully we'll all have longer lives. And so, therefore, you recognize that you still remain within the world of work. So, in today's show, what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight 5 high value skills that are in demand in the world of work and which one may actually appeal to you. You could be somebody who thinks, oh, I'll go for that one, or maybe a combination, or maybe all 5. Before I dive into the 5 high value skills, and I'll also give you an indication of where you could actually start. And I want to say welcome. If you're one of my regulars, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Bybreen Samuels, and I help baby boomers reinvent themselves psychologically, practically, and technically so they can thrive in their third act of life. So here we are in the height of summer, and you're really going through your portfolio of skills. Now, back in December of 2022, British Telecom actually undertook a survey of about 1,500 older people around their late 50s, 60s. And they wanted to have a sense of where does the land lie with regards to looking at digital skills? How are older people actually making contact with and building relationships with and, acclimatizing themselves to the digital skills that are needed for the modern workplace? So we have this idea of the future of work, but it's actually here. So what I want to do is to indicate to you where you could be paying attention. So BT did this, and what they found was 39% of people who were surveyed said they're not as tech savvy as what they would like to be. Then there were 18% of them who said that they were really kind of struggling and having difficulty in terms of using their devices. However, 65% of these baby boomers were really enthusiastic in terms of wanting to learn new skills. They literally said we're not too old to learn, which is obvious. We know this, but it was great to see this detailed in this survey. And then 58% of those who were tech savvy actually taught themselves, which is a fantastic route to take because that's the route I took when I dove into the engineering world. So that gives you a sense of what was happening from what BT were able to pick up. But what they also highlighted was that over the last, 10, 12 years, baby boomers have been learning a whole range of digital skills, technical skills. In that, just think about online shopping. There's eBay and then there's Amazon, or online selling. You may have set up an Etsy store or a Shopify store, or you might have used the internet in terms of setting up online meetings, whether you're using Skype, Google Meet, or Zoom. There's been a proliferation of boomers and other people using these digital resources. Or you may be quite au fait with editing photos on your phone as well as on your laptop or on your tablet. Something to mention, I came across some information a couple of days ago that Apple is discontinuing its photo streaming service. So if you are somebody that uses Apple services and you've got photos, which I think is separate from the cloud, but in their photo streaming services, they're going to discontinue it. So you may want to start downloading your photos from that streaming service. So that gives you a sense of what's happening, the skills that baby boomers have learned over the last 10 to 12 years, and we continue to do so. So in terms of the 5 high value skills that will be really interesting for you to dive into, The first one is data analysis. And the reason why data analysis is just dominating all of our lives is because of artificial intelligence. So, artificial intelligence is driving the world of work in terms of automation. And artificial intelligence is powered by big data. So data points. And each and every one of us, whether we're an individual, whether we work for a company, we are swimming in the oceans of data. And invariably, we never make great use of the data that we have. And, that's whether we're individuals or companies. And so data analysis is a really highly valued skill for 2023 and beyond. There's just going to be copious amounts of data, and there aren't enough people who know how to analyze data. So, what is data analysis? Essentially, it's your ability to collect, collate, and to analyze information. And so, therefore, you're able to see with clarity and extract the meaning from the data. So, just earlier this week, I was working with one of my clients, and they have a preventative healthcare service, and which they've run very successfully. So I've been working with them in terms of helping them understand data. So, for example, let's just take their project, an aspect of it. Let's say they had 50 people who'd gone through their service. So the data analysis that I was teaching them was, well, was it 50 men, 50 women? Was there an age differential in terms of the people who turned up? What were some of the health factors that they were struggling with prior to coming onto your course? By going through your course, did they overcome the problems that they had? This is just one example of data analysis, making sense of it. Because although they said, yeah, we had a great time and, there's been some reductions in some of the health problems, what you want to do is to be able to analyze it with greater depth. So therefore you can go on to provide even better comprehensive services. So where would you start? You definitely don't need to get a degree. You definitely don't need to be running back to university. Here are two very simple tools that you could start to build your skills and exercise your muscles around data analysis. Microsoft Excel is one, and then you have Google Slides is another. Now, both of these softwares allow you to collate information, organize information, analyze information. And with regards to Excel, it has a feature that helps you spot the trends. It's built within the program. So these are two really good resources that can help you work with spreadsheets in a meaningful way. And this really is the basis of data analysis that you could dive into. So that gives you a sense of, the data analysis, what it is that you need to be paying attention to. And so that you're not overwhelmed, dive in. If you're a Microsoft user, dive into Excel. And if you're a Google user like me, dive into Slides. The second high paying and high demand skill is coding. Now, coding is the foundation to websites, mobile apps, back-end services. And coding really is your ability to understand how do computers talk to each other. Now, I don't want you to get overwhelmed because of these terms like coding and software engineering and front-end and back-end, but I'm really trying to strip down the core essential skills that employers are looking for here and way into the future. Even though the likes of ChatGPT are here, coding is still a really high demand skill because you still need to have some understanding of the nuances of how engineering a product actually takes place. So where would you start? Well, coding really, again, it builds on this idea of data, helps you to organize the data. So let's say, for example, you have a list, a long list of people's names, but you need to be able to access the data and manipulate, use the data in a meaningful way. So the data needs to be structured. So a place that you could actually start even before learning how to code, and I wish I'd done it this way around. I did it the other way around. I learned how to code and then got into understanding how systems work, is I would actually just concentrate on what is a data structure. A data structure allows you to put a structure around information. So let's go back to this long list of names that you have. And a data structure, like an array, for example, will help you organize that list in a sequential order. So that essentially, very, very fundamental, is a way to think about data structures. There's a whole range of data structures. But if you are really more of, the left brain type, you like analyzing things, you like breaking things down, then coding is a really viable skill for you to develop. Alongside coding, you have this idea of called an algorithm. And so algorithms essentially are a step-by-step guide to solving a problem. It's like a recipe. You want to create something, but you want to go from point A to point Z. How do you organize those steps? That's essentially what an algorithm is. So let's say that you've got a big database of numbers and you're trying to find the highest number. Well, one way would be to be splitting the data down into smaller chunks, finding the highest number, and you would keep repeating that process until you found the number you were looking for. So algorithms and data structures are like foundational concepts that if you are thinking about learning how to code, learning how computers talk to each other would be a great place for you to start. And a resource that would help you is the CS50 Introduction to Computer Sciences. It's a really engaging course. It's accessible, hence why I'm bringing it to your attention. So that's coding. The third high value skill, this sort of runs off the back of coding, is web development. And so, yes, web development is still very much a thing. And so, if you are somebody who's highly creative and you like to put together websites, then web development could be the avenue for you. So here you'll be looking at the user experience, user interface, which brings in your creativity together with actually structuring web pages. So where would you start with this? So for example, I would start with these are the kind of foundational steps forward. I would start with learning what is HTML, which is hypertext marked up language, together with CSS, which stands for Cascading Style Sheets. These are the two complementary programs that help you to structure a website. So if you're thinking of web development, yes, we have these sort of automated tools and we've got some no code going on. But actually, web development is still a huge field and there's a high demand for it. So with regards to the HTML, where would you start? Start with understanding what are tags. And tags will literally help you to structure the page. So tags will teach you about how do you create the header? How do you create the footer? Are there paragraphs on the page? Invariably, there will be. Are there images that you want to use? Having a handle on these foundational concepts of web development is really going to help you. Then alongside that, we have the CSS function. And what CSS helps you to do is to design it and to style it. What colors are you going to use on the website? What font sizes do you want to use? So these complementary programs will help you build out websites. And there's a platform called CodePen, whereby you would begin to practice, and it gives you sort of like the spine and the literal spine of the website that you could begin to practice. The fourth high value skill is around cybersecurity. Now, regarding cybersecurity, this is a huge field. So if you're really into being on top of privacy and data and the management of that, of your personal data or your financial data, keeping your website, your web computer safe, then cybersecurity could be an avenue for you to explore. But it's huge. So maybe the place for you to start would be around cyber attacks. And here are two. There's a whole range of cyber attacks that could happen to any of us. But if you're interested in exploring the world of cybersecurity, you could start at the very beginning with cyber attacks. And so two examples are malware. And so this is where there's a virus that has found its way on your laptop, your mainframe, or your phone. So it's a virus and it's corrupting your software. It's disrupting the systems and the networks on your laptop, on your computer. The second one is phishing, and phishing is spelled Phishing. And so with phishing, what's happening here is that you might receive an email, you might receive a text, you might get a phone call, like I did earlier in the year, that appears to come from a legitimate source. But actually, it's kind of cyber criminals who are trying to get access to your personal information. Fortunately, I didn't fall foul of it, but I was kind of like alarmed just in terms of how they were approaching me, and kind of put two and two together, think, actually, if this was a legitimate query, the organization would have reached out to me in a very different way. So if you begin to understand what are the foundational principles around cyber attacks, you can then build up, as with all of them, your own micro portfolio. So as you're re-entering the world of work, or you're in the world of work, you're building up this sort of catalog of work, which is going to be even more useful than a CV, for example. CVs are a bit kind of passé. And actually demonstrating your ability to do something is going to be far more appealing. And then the fifth service that you might want to think about is all around digital marketing. So we've had, at least 12, 15 years of the rise and the emergence and the dominance of social media marketing, digital marketing. So let's say you're somebody who's really into communication and you're creative and you like engaging with people online. There may be, digital marketing conveying messages that sell an idea, a product, a service, a person in terms of their personality, their ideas. Then digital marketing may be the avenue for you to explore. There's a whole range of different avenues that you could specialize in. So let's say, for example, you're into search engine optimization, SEO. And here what you're trying to do is bring the visibility of a website, more to the forefront. And the way that could be done is through backlinks linking to the website. Then there's another specialist area called PPC, pay per clip. So let's say an advertiser has put out an advert, and each time us as consumers clicks on the ad, they have to pay a fee. That's one avenue of this digital marketing. You might want to explore email marketing because you really enjoy selling ideas, services, and products through words. And so the skill that you need here is around copywriting, selling a persuasive story in order for people, to engage with the subscribers that are on this kind of database, and with a view to know, like, and trust, and then eventually inviting them into buying the product or service. And then we have affiliate marketing, which can be, attached to a whole range of product services companies. So if we take high-end companies like, I don't know, Harrods or Gucci or Louis Vuitton, they all have these affiliate programs. And essentially what they offer is the ability for you to sell their products, and each sale that you make, you get a percentage of the sale price. So if you're interested in connecting with a brand, you like what they do, then all you would need to do, where would you start? You would go and set up an account on Pinterest, and you'd set up a business pin, and then you would take the information of the product, you would write an advert around that, and then each time somebody clicks on your link and they buy, you get a percentage. And then finally, out of the batch that I have, there's influencer marketing. We've seen that, really skyrocket over the last decade, particularly on Instagram. That's really where it started to gather pace. And obviously there's Instagram, there's Twitter, there's LinkedIn, they're all over the place. And so the influencer Marketer is somebody who has a large following. And as a result of this large following, you think, okay, they would really be a great representative of our product or service. So, influencer marketing is the last of the examples in terms of how you would start with this role of digital marketing. And so they are the 5 high value skills, from data analysis through to coding, through to web development, cyber attacks, cyber security, and digital marketing. They are the 5 areas that, if you really are looking at transforming your skills, recognizing that there's, this wonderful long life that could be ahead of all of us by at least the next 2 to 3 decades, and you recognize that you still want to work and you still need to work, these are the 5 high value skills that employers are looking for today. Even though we've got this umbrella called the future of work, they're looking for these skills today, 2023, right the way into the future. So that's what I wanted to share with you. 5 skills that you could start to incorporate to really build out your skill set. So, you recognize yourself as somebody who's high value, and you want to contribute that value in a meaningful way that you're really fit for market. Then I would dive into any one of these skills. I'd love to hear which one appeals to you, whether you're already au fait with some of them. Put your comments in the comment box below. I'd love to engage with you around this. And please like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and let other fabulous baby boomers in your life know that every Sunday, 3:30, I'm here to share vignettes, ideas to help you as a baby boomer thrive in your third act of life. So stay well, and I will see you again next week. Bye-bye.